Yo, what's up? So I am in Saigon. I spent the last month in Da Nang and I absolutely loved it. And I'm here in Saigon, Ho Chi Minh City for a week before I have to go to the Philippines. Cool thing about the city is you see a lot of the socialist party posters all over the place. And it's awesome seeing that there's a lot of history still left in the city. I was very impressed with the architecture that I saw just walking around, like the government buildings, the malls, the apartments, everything. Ho Chi Minh is a very modern city. It's a lot cleaner than I expected. Maybe it's just the areas that I'm walking around because it's the more touristy areas. It feels very contemporary in a lot of ways. I saw a mall. I'm probably gonna get some lunch and yeah, let's see what the city has to offer. So I love these street food stalls. There's not quite as many food markets as a place like Thailand, but all these mom and pop restaurants, you go in to get a little plate of rice, a meat and some veggie, and you get a soup on the side, and they usually cost 25, 30 Vietnamese dong. If you're looking to eat on a budget, these are the best places to go. Notice that in a lot of Vietnamese restaurants, they have these really tiny stool chairs and these really tiny tables. You're often really cramped for space, and look at my legs. I'm not even tall. You immediately notice there's a much stronger foreigner presence here. I feel like Da Nang was a lot more local and I really liked it for that reason. But here in Saigon, it feels like a huge mix of a bunch of people from all different countries, and not just European countries, but also there's a lot of Korean restaurants here too. So it does feel more like a melting pot. I love Vietnamese style. I think the people here dress extremely nicely, even though it's quite hot right now, but they always dress nice pants, a nice button-up shirt, polos. It's a lot more put together than a place like Thailand where the people are a lot more relaxed. And I am so impressed with the architecture from the city. I wouldn't say it feels like I'm in Europe. Look at that. But it kind of does, right? There's a lot of European influence. I think it's probably the area that I'm in. This is probably the high-end area here. But man, it is unbelievably clean, organized, really beautiful. So impressive. I did not expect this from Saigon at all. So I'm walking around one of the shopping centers called Saigon Square. And you have a couple of shopping malls, which are the quote-unquote expensive ones with all the designer brands and everything. But if you just go a little bit down the street to Saigon Square, you can find this whole entire flea market area, which is what I was looking for. You can get clothes at a very similar quality for a fraction of the price. Something that I love about here compared to other places in the world is that the vendors are not pushy at all. They just kind of let you look and you don't feel harassed the whole entire time. And I really, really like that. When you travel for a very long time, it's not so much go, do everything as quickly as you can anymore. After a couple of weeks of traveling, it gets kind of exhausting, always meeting new people and having to settle down in a new place. And now that I'm a bit older, I enjoy my comforts and I don't have the same energy as I did when I was traveling, when I was 22. The vibe that I get from Saigon, just from seeing it, is that it's very businessy. It's a very strong hustle culture. It does seem that the people here are pretty nice, but if you compare Ho Chi Minh City to Hanoi, the crime here is way worse. The area that I'm in right now is kind of like Little Japan. There are a bunch of massage places all around here, and then you see a lot of clubs and all these really, attractive girls walking around. I was trying to film a little bit of the area last night, but then I got in trouble and the girls kept covering their faces, so I guess this is kind of like the red light district. When I was in Da Nang, I felt like it was a very traditional experience and the people were a lot more conservative. Saigon is very liberal compared to the rest of Vietnam. Something that I noticed is that you can see gay people and trans people walking around here in Saigon, whereas in Da Nang it was very rare. Apparently in Hanoi the people are a lot more conservative there, so it's not very common at all. But just from an outsider's perspective, I do feel pretty welcome here. The fact that I'm an Asian foreigner, I think makes my experience much different, so the people aren't really staring at me. Vietnam has been really cool, honestly. I've been really pleasantly surprised. The traffic, at least in the area I'm at right now, is not too bad. But around rush hour, the city is pure chaos. But I didn't feel super anxious or nervous about it like I normally do in really intense cities. Saigon during rush hour is so crazy, man. Look at these streets. I could not drive in a place like this. It's absolutely insane. It's just so much going on at all times. I'm trying to still figure out the vibe, but I would like to see more of the city, even though it kind of feels like there's not too much to do here in Saigon. Also, like I said in my Da Nang video, Vietnamese women are extremely beautiful. Here in Saigon, it's no different. Because there's more people here, it does feel like everywhere I go, there's beautiful women everywhere. It does feel a little party-ish, a similar vibe to Medellin or Cartagena or Pattaya. I don't know how deep the sexual tourism industry goes because technically all that stuff is illegal here, but I'm sure there are ways to find that if you're looking for it. So I wasn't really planning on going to any museums here, but I just met a friend at the hostel and we ended up coming to the War Remnants Museum. Normally, I don't really care for museums, if I'm being honest, but we're gonna check out if this one is worth coming to or not. It's really cheap. It's like 40,000 dong to come in, so it's like a couple bucks. Yeah, we'll see if it's worth it or not. So I find it very interesting going to countries like this because honestly, I don't follow history that much. It's interesting being in this country and hearing the story told from the Vietnamese point of view. Because I think growing up in the US, we're only told a certain angle of the story, right? We're out there fighting for freedom, for capitalist ideals and all those things. But then you come to a country like Vietnam where the war actually happened and they had to face all the repercussions of everything. It's just interesting showing what their point of view on the whole situation was. And I find that very, very fascinating. I'm not saying I agree with one way or another. It just makes you kind of rethink everything we've been told in the US, you know? Okay, I'm here with my friend Cecilia. How did we meet?
Yesterday in the shower, not in the shower.
It was a shower though. It totally was.
You were going to shower and then we started talking.
Yes. What did you think about it?
It's very interesting because I didn't know a lot about Vietnamese wars. It was a bit like sad, of course.
Yeah, that's how I felt too. War's kind of messed up. Yeah. And I don't know if the US is technically in the right? Like, because all the stuff here talked about how US were like the bullies and, you know, US were kind of the bad guys. So it just kind of makes me conflicted about it. Vietnam has less of a street food presence in a place like Thailand. In Thailand, no matter where you go, you can always find street food. Whereas here, they have the local restaurants in the barrio that I'm in right now. But you kind of have to look for it, especially at night. So one of the things that I like to order is like the sugarcane juice and they put it in ice. It's like 10 Vietnamese dong. I love Vietnamese local food. Like lately, here in Saigon, they have a lot of really good international restaurants. You know, I've been eating a lot of good Korean food, Japanese barbecue, that kind of thing. Eating local food is super cheap and just my favorite. Like you can never go wrong with good Vietnamese food. So we're walking around District 5 right now, which is kind of like Chinatown here in Saigon. I'll be honest, man. Saigon has been quite disappointing. I was expecting for more of a cultural experience, but I feel like most of the city is underdeveloped, kind of dirty. I don't know, the vibe is just kind of weird. There are some areas that are really developed with really nice buildings, and District 1 is very, very nice. I think we're like in the commerce section or something.
Really local market, so
oh, perfect.
Not touristy at all, very hands-off.
Yesterday I went to one of the touristy ones. They were very pushy. They overcharged on so many, on everything. Handsome boy, handsome boy.
Special price, special price.
Yeah. That was amazing. What an accent. I haven't been able to just breathe here. Every place that we've gone and we visited is just a lot of cars, a lot of motos, and just noise. And do you find that there's a lot of pollution here too? Like, can you guys feel it?
You can see it. The touristy areas like District 1 are a bit underwhelming maybe, but
yes,
there's a lot of history here, so...
That's a good point. Hey! And then the rats. You see them everywhere here. What did you think of the walking street when we went to that?
Very overstimulating. A lot of lights, a lot of...
music, a lot of foreigners.
A lot of like promoters.
Touching you and stuff. And before you enter, you notice the girls that were standing around, they were like prostitutes.
Yeah,
you guys saw that, right?
yeah.
So we're trying to walk around the market here and we're like hit a little traffic jam. But look, like the walkway is just filled with a bunch of bikes and people just trying to get through. It's more of a local market, so you can find a lot more local products. You can find anything, but it's a lot dirtier, like way, way dirtier. I don't know if polluted is a word, but it feels very claustrophobic walking around here. So something that I really love about Vietnam, as crazy as everything is how important their family values are. It's something that you notice quite a bit. We were here at the mall, it's a Saturday night, and this place is just packed with families all over the place. I love seeing that. So the big question is Saigon worth visiting? If I'm being completely honest, I don't think so. I think there's a couple of cool things to see here. I think the War Museum was pretty cool. I think District 1 is somewhat cool, but it's nothing unique that you haven't seen in other places. I think there's a lot of people who come here for sexual tourism. For me, I'm not a huge fan of big cities. So if I were to give Saigon a scale of 1 to 10, my final verdict is probably a 6. I wish I spent a little more time in a place like Dalat or Sapa or some of the other places, which I think are a little more my vibe. Thank God I was able to meet some great people along the way. I met some cool people at the hostel. I met a really beautiful Viet girl at the first hostel that I stayed at. Shout out to you, Tessa, if you're watching this. But other than that, you know, it doesn't seem like Saigon has a lot of redeeming qualities. It's really dirty, it's very chaotic. I can feel the pollution like in my throat. Let me know what you guys think down below. Thank you all for watching and I'll catch y'all later. Peace out. So unfortunately, my time in Saigon has been pretty so-so, but I have to give a shout out to this hostel that I stayed at called Saigon Authentic hostel. I really enjoy this place. They're not sponsoring me at all, but I think the vibe that they set up in this hostel was really nice. The front desk lady was very cool. It's a family-owned business, so they set up the vibe like awesomely. And I think just like from the social aspect, it was one of the best hostels I've ever been to. If you guys are planning on staying here, you want a more local experience, definitely check out this place.